Okay, so today we're diving into a really tricky area of medical ethics, and we're using guidance from the World Health Organization to help us navigate it. We're going to look at that incredibly difficult moment when one person's private medical choice could have huge consequences for everyone around them.
So I want you to just picture this for a second. It's not some sci-fi movie plot. This is a real-world dilemma. A patient has a dangerous, contagious disease, but they refuse the very treatment that could save their life and stop them from spreading it to others. What do? Can doctors actually step in and force them? That's the core question we're unpacking.
All right, so first things first, let's set the foundation. In medicine, the patient's voice, your voice, is supposed to be the most important one in the room. This isn't just about being nice, it's a fundamental rule of the game. The starting point, the default setting for pretty much any medical decision, is always you. The World Health Organization is really clear on this. If you're a competent adult, you get to decide what happens to your own body. It's a principle called autonomy, and it's all about respecting your choices and your values. And here's where it all gets messy. Because during a major outbreak of an infectious disease, a single person's choice stops being just personal. All of a sudden, it has potentially massive consequences for public health, and that creates this incredible ethical tension. So, to really get a handle on this tension, we need to look at the two big, powerful values that are essentially in a tug of war at the heart of this whole debate. On one side, you've got the rights of the individual, and on the other, you've got the safety of the entire community. See, this isn't a simple right versus wrong situation. It's a clash between two things that are both, in their own way, right. So let's break them down. First up, patient autonomy. We just touched on this, but it's really about your right to self-determination. It's the right to say yes or no to a doctor, based on what you believe without anyone twisting your arm. It's a total cornerstone of modern medicine. But then you've got this other massive pillar, public health. This is the idea that the government, the state, has a duty to protect everybody. And when a dangerous disease is spreading like wildfire, that obligation becomes, incredibly urgent. It's all about preventing harm on a huge scale. So, we get to the big question. Can that duty to protect the public ever override your right to refuse treatment? Well, according to the WHO guidance, the answer is yes. But, and this is a huge but, only in the most extreme situations, and only if a set of incredibly strict conditions are all met. And let's be crystal clear about this. We're not talking about a casual decision. This is the absolute last resort. It's not a simple choice. It's more like trying to clear a series of really, really high ethical hurdles. And you have to clear all four of these. First, the patient's refusal has to be a serious risk to public health, not a minor one. Second, the treatment itself can't be especially dangerous for that one person. Third, it has to be actually feasible. You can't really force someone to stick to a complicated at-home treatment if they're fighting you every step of the way. And fourth, and this one is fascinating, officials have to think about the impact on public trust. This is such a critical point. Forcing treatment on one person might fix the problem today, but what happens tomorrow? What if it makes everyone else scared and distrustful of doctors and hospitals? That could make the next outbreak even worse. It's a profound balancing act. But wait, there's more. Even if, somehow, all four of those incredibly tough conditions are met, it's still not over. The way the decision is made has to be fair and transparent. This is absolutely crucial. To prevent any abuse of power, the decision can't just be made by a single doctor or some official behind closed doors. The system demands what's called due process, or procedural justice. So the system has these critical safeguards built right in. The patient has to be told what's happening, and they get a real chance to make their case. The decision has to be made by a neutral group, like a court or a special panel. And get this, the burden of proof is on the public health officials. They have to prove that this extreme step is absolutely necessary. It's all designed to protect the individual. So when you take a step back and look at this whole thing, what do you really see? You see a framework that's trying to wrestle with one of the hardest questions a free society can face. And here's the main takeaway. The scales are deliberately tipped to favor your individual freedom. The right to say no is the default. To go against that requires an absolutely overwhelming reason, and it has to be proven through a process that's both fair and open. And that leaves us with this final massive question. This framework gives us a process, but it doesn't give us an easy answer. It forces us to confront that deep tension between our rights as individuals and our responsibilities to each other, especially when the stakes couldn't be higher. And that's a question worth thinking about.